check out this epic debate on Twitter. We have Alyssa, LMT, I think that's licensed massage therapist, so she's in the healthcare industry, RMT. If you don't know it, licensed massage therapists get excellent education, probably much more education than the average personal trainer gets. I used to be a personal trainer for 18 years or 19 years, so I can say that. So massage therapists are often awesome people, and they're very educated about nutrition and health and those types of things. All right, so she gets, on this post, she gets 131 hearts, 18 retweets, and 171 comments. One of the comments on the post is made by Olivia Grace Owens, pound author, pound synesthete, pound assnob. Okay, she says, it's a personal choice. I choose it for my children, and they're well-adjusted. Surprise. How about everyone minds their own business and doesn't stick their nose in my children's pants? Wow. I hope you have a good editor, pound assnob. Let's just unpack your weirdness here, okay? This is why we need to have this stuff, It's been said that we don't need to study circumcision. We need to study the circumcisers. And I fully agree with that. I mean, I have so much information on anatomy, histology reports, sensitivity testing, psychology, psychological studies, the damages of childhood, adverse childhood experiences or harm or trauma during childhood, all this stuff about this issue to prove how wrong it is. But really, what we need to really do is look at the minds of the person that doesn't realize this is wrong, right? We have to have all this science to prove this is wrong. It's crazy. Anyways, let's kind of go through this. She's got 5 likes. Interesting. Okay, so nextlevelintactivism.com, a place where you can find a ton of educational materials. Here's the educational materials. There's a mime library that's full of mimes. And I think it's really important that people on Twitter and social media utilize this mime library for its full potential. There's over 4,500 different mimes related to Intactivist. You can answer over 275 different subjects relating to all areas of Intactivism. So get in here and go through these and find some mimes. I'm going to show you some of the ones I've used. So one of the things I've noticed that's worked really, really well is images of the after effects or images of faces during the events. So these are both very powerful. Can't get you blocked because they're not images of the genitals. So be careful about posting images of genitals. I don't want you to get blocked. This is a too horrific crime to actually show the full actual event itself. So let's just look at these. Very, very powerful images. Okay, it's not your body, it's not your right. How about you leave children's genitals alone? Personal choice means you choose for yourself about your own genitals, not other people's genitals. Duh. Right? Not your right, not your body, not your right. Okay, no, a personal choice would be making an informed decision when he's older if he wanted to remove healthy tissues, his male G-spot for cultural reasons and myths. Congratulations on embedding permanent trauma into him and reducing his sexuality. You don't have to live with the loss he does. Nice comment there. And there's some... Reed Nelson says, it's a personal choice. Then why are you forcing your personal preference on another person's body? That would be like a man saying breast enhancement is a personal choice and forcing it on his daughter. Not really a personal choice if it is forced on you, is it? Dervin Milo, personal choice equals family-owned penis? Question mark. Genitals are called private parts for a very good reason. Boys' penises and girls' vulva belong to the actual owner of the body, not to the parents' religion. Foreskin is highly sensitive tissue for males and also protects sensitivity of glands. Okay, little lesson in personal ownership. You own your body, you don't own your child's body. Does this make sense? These are some very powerful images. This one says, if it's not attached to your body, you have no business cutting parts off of it. Mind your own penis. Chop Shop Boys, the images, very powerful images. Let's see if I can pull this one up. It's powerful images. I mean, how can you look at that and not recognize what it is? Okay, and there's this one, awesome images, all children deserve protection. Okay. Jonathan Redfern says, if it was really a personal choice, your children would be able to choose for themselves. Instead, you took away their choice and permanently damaged the most intimate parts of their bodies. Educate yourself and do better for your children. Jonathan Redfern, great way to leave on a positive note. It's not a personal choice. How about everyone mind their own business and doesn't cut their children's genitals? Max Berger, common sense, right? People have a duty to protect children, lady. I tried to remove the lady. I should probably move, but it's in there. I guess you can't edit Twitter. He's not your son. He's not your property. He's your son, not your property. I like this image because it's got this little boy, and it's so powerful. Like, it just looks, like that's, child abuse. Kid with his hand up, and it's like, yeah, I'm fighting to take away your right. Take a knife to somebody else's penis. Deal with it. Kyle Chen says, making a choice for someone else isn't a personal choice. An individual deciding for himself would be a personal choice. 23 likes on that one. Makes so much sense. Melody, my mother-in-law had no business in my husband's pants. You must not know what personal means. Wow. Very powerful statement there, Melody. I want a PS5 disc. Congrats on supporting child abuse. Pound I2 Intactivism. As a person whose personal choice was cut off along with my foreskin, it should be for the parent, not for the parents to decide. It's unnecessary surgery and therefore should only be performed when elected by the owner of the body. Pound I2. This is Olivia Grace Owens. Pound Assnob. Sue your parents then, since you're so bothered. Most parents don't know any better. I have no doubt you intended no harm to your son. Great response there. Medical professionals don't know better, should know better, and shouldn't offer or perform it without medical need. It's fraud. Great response. And then Alyssa has a great response here. Are you defending the practice because you made that choice, or do you honestly believe it's the right thing to do? Of course, parents that make that choice, it's very hard for them to admit that they made a mistake. That's why we got to support regret mothers and allow people to admit mistakes, especially in this. I consider this to be more of a doctor mistake or the medical professional mistake than it is the parent's mistake, just because it's the medical professional's duty to know this stuff. It's their responsibility and job to know this stuff. And they are failing massively and lying to parents, and they're not giving them proper informed consent. Proper informed consent would be there's very to little no medical benefits. This will psychologically damage your child and sexually cripple him for life. That's proper informed consent. Okay? Maimed man. How can it be a personal choice? When is it chosen by someone other than the person whose body is being altered? How about everyone mind their business and leave children's genitals alone? Right on. Bob. There seems to be a common reflective response from pro-circumcision folks. Oh, gee, you're so creepy for thinking about children's genitals. Then they're the ones who see fit to take a blade to children's genitalia. That's going to be a mime, Bob. That's how good that one is. And I'm going to even do this in the middle of the video. That's how good this one is. I'm going to make that a mime. Where is it? This one. Yeah. I mean, all these are good, but this one is one that it just says it in a way that I haven't heard before. So I apologize. I have to take this second to contribute this to my growing mime library that's going to be exploding, and version 2 is going to be coming out soon. Did I get that saved? Yeah, okay. Get out of there. All right. I'm also, this is the list again. I'm also curious, were you there when they performed the procedure, or did you leave the room? And then, of course, you won't answer. Yeah, that's a very powerful question, because it's a double-edged sword, because some parents do watch it and they say, oh, it didn't hurt. It's just crazy. Some people can watch it and actually walk away from that and not be and have no, they're sociopaths. They have no compassionate response to the very obvious trauma and damage being done to children, sexual damage being done to children. It's just, it's psychotic, really. Okay, Shannon Houston said, my sister had it done to my nephew. That's the norm. And had I not had this professor passionate on this topic, I probably would have no thoughts on it. Okay. Well, you should. Because if you know what it is, you should have a visceral abhorrence and reaction to it. And if you don't, you really need to question, well, first off, you probably have sociopathic tendencies, because it's normal for humans to be adversely responsive to children being sexually assaulted and tortured. It's just a normal human response to be, I heard this say before, watch a child watch a circumcision. Okay, if a child sees a circumcision, they will be dramatically traumatized by what they're watching. Okay, that's how a normal human response should be, every human across the board. And if you don't have that, you're either cultural brainwashed or a sociopath. And it's just that simple. And you need to break through that cultural brainwashing so that you're not a sociopath. Because if you don't have that response to a child being mutilated and tortured, you are a sociopath, and something's wrong. Something's wrong in your brain. Something's missing. There's some links that are missing. All right. Okay. Newsflash, lady. It isn't a personal choice if your children didn't choose it for themselves. You stuck your nose down their pants when you decided to have this done to them. They're called private parts for a reason. Apparently, that flew right over your head. Ultimate Katie, that is phenomenal response. Excellent response. Carbar, they were private when you chopped off parts from their genitalia. Why children's genitals can't be left alone? Some weird genital customization to please your own genital aesthetic preferences, then brainwash them to believe it was right. Yep, they brainwashed their children to believe it is right, and that's why we have adults thinking it's right, because they were brainwashed as children. All right, Alyssa. Right. I'll never stop caring about my fellow human beings. Wow, Alyssa, you are a human being. And that's how human beings are supposed to respond. We're supposed to care about each other. We're supposed to protect children. We're supposed to love children, even if they're not our own. We're supposed to protect children that are not our own. Ghost Orchid, I agree, it's a personal choice for the person. If you choose for another person, it's not a personal choice, is it? Duh. Meyer, I don't understand why people like you always call it a personal choice. Personal means the owner of the body gets to choose it. You chose for your sons. If you think the appearance of your son's penis is your business, then I would fucking criticize it as a circumcised man. Right on. I wonder how she would feel if someone circumcised her as a baby, Alyssa. Meyer, well, if she hated it, she could dismiss her opinion. If she hated it, we could dismiss her opinion as well, since most circumcised women are satisfied with having gotten circumcised. If she hated being intact, maybe, I think is what he's saying. If that was her opinion. Okay, so anyways, yeah, we know what we're saying. We know what you're saying, Mayor. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, it doesn't give any relevance. It's the same for mutilated men in America. The ones that say, I'm fine. My cousin, my uncle says I'm fine. I'm like, no, you're not. The more you stick to that position as I'm fine, the worse the trauma was, the more horrific it probably was. Meaning, the more ardent you are about this being not a trauma, the more likelihood that this was an extreme trauma in your life. Because, I mean, it's denial of basic common sense. This is literally a math problem. This is literally a third grade math problem. If you take something that you really enjoy, and newsflash, men are driven to enjoy sex. It's part of our nature. Newsflash. I don't think anybody's surprised about that. If you take something you enjoy that you would like a lot in your life and you subtract from it, that's just common sense, right? Like if you like ice cream, you don't go chop off half your tongue. You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense. Okay, Quillmonger, you are a phenomenal intactivist on Twitter. I've always appreciated your wisdom. Which of the following forms of touching and alteration involving a healthy, non-consenting person's genitals do you think people should mind their own businesses about? And this is a great meme about the forms, the different forms of male genital cutting and female genital cutting. Okay, Olivia, comes back. She's, very, defensive, I guess I could say. Perhaps you should ask your brand new baby when he needs his diaper changed. Wow, that's weird, right? That's weird. That's just a weird statement. Social change before it's too late. Fiduciary responsibility and body integrity are two separate topics categories. Be receptive to learning something new and stop the cowardly doubling down of your harmful decisions. That's a great statement there. Fiduciary responsibility and body integrity. You're probably talking way over Olivia's head. I mean, we were talking about pound ass knob. So bring it down a little bit there, social change. But that was a great statement too. Jersey Freight's tag. Well, then do not stick your nose in your children's pants. If a child isn't ill and has no problems with their private parts, their private parts belong to them, not to you. Exactly. Ministry says, so you would have the same attitude if parents want to physically punish their kids? It's a very important point. Too bad if you, trespassers, Wilma, too bad you didn't keep your own hands out of your children's pants. Exactly. Happy it's not your business, perv. Perv? Wait a minute. You're cutting parts off children's genitals, and people that are telling you not to are the pervs? Come on, man. Dor von Milo. Cutting the genitals of another person is hardly your business, especially a small child that is at the beginning of their own genitalia developments, which is going to take 18 to 22 years. It is always better to learn why a penis is structured this way, sensitive distribution and the damage we cause. You guys need to go grab some mimes, man, and quit this repetitive typing stuff. You guys need to get in the mime library. You need to use it. It's yours. Okay? Just use it. It makes these statements a lot easier. If you notice, before I got to there was no really glaring images. There's no graphic images of a child's face that are undeniable. It's really hard to deny that, the graphical images, it's really hard to deny that. So as you notice, there's not much up here until I put those ones in there, but you need to have some of these graphic images in here. This one is one of my favorites. The Chop Shop Boys. Let's see if I can't get this to center. Oh, there we go. It works now. Okay, very, very powerful images. Look at this. Child's face, child having his hands, tears being, coming down this child's face. Chop Shop's Boys, bought to you by popular parental request. How am I going to get through this? How am I going to get through this? How am I going to get through? How am I going to get through? What have I done to deserve this? What have I done to deserve this? Very powerful mime. Okay, so you guys got to use those mimes. Mimes are very powerful. Images are very powerful. They say images are, one image is 10,000 words, right? These images are powerful. You want to make Intactivists better by giving them options. Okay, Not a Robot has some very, very awesome things said here. I could make this a separate video and just talk about this right here. This is some great stuff from Not a Robot. I was fine being circumcised for 28 years because I was told it was normal and healthier. This was reinforced by the media, which makes jokes about the whole intact bodies. This all changed when I researched for myself and truly understood what was done to me. Right on point here, Not a Robot. I was 35, 36 when I realized how this affected me and how it's affected me my whole life. Just because you're not aware of the damage and you're not associating the damage to its true cause does not mean the damage isn't there. It does not mean it's not there. All these men, all of us have had psychological damage. So we respond differently to stress in our lives. We have PTSD, some form of PTSD. It's worse from some than others, of course. Some people can adjust and respond, but this affects every single man. There's not a man that's mutilated that is fine with it. And the more mutilated and fine you are, the less fine you actually are in the real world. The more you hold on to this attachment to I'm fine and mutilated, the more unfine you really are. Okay, so anyways, when you realize it, you do the research, and it's a simple math problem. This is removing the most sensitive part, the primary nerve function, the primary mechanical function, the primary structure itself, the primary system itself of the genitals is gone. It's gone. It's gone. You can't recover from that. There's no I'm fine from that. No, you're not fine. Okay, it may still feel good, great. If you have a quarter tongue, your lunch may still taste good. Okay, if you have an eyeball, missing eyeball, you can still see the A on the opposite wall. If you have a gouged out, you put a pencil in one of your eardrums, you can still hear music. But is it the same? Absolutely not. It's just it's ludicrous for some to say it is. Okay, so I'm not a robot. I had no idea what was done to me because nobody ever told me. Exactly. No one ever told me either. I had to find out on my own. When your kids are old enough, I suggest you teach them what was cut off so they don't have to find out by looking it up online. This would have helped me in my experience. Very important. This would have helped me in my experience. Right? It's very disheartening to find this out on your own. To find out such a horrible thing happened to you on your own, by your own parents, by your own society, by your own doctor. Okay, for example, teach them that the glans is supposed to be an internal mucosa membrane. This blew my mind. Also, the ridge band, the frenulum, was removed, which has tons of nerves, and the foreskin is removed, amounts to 15 square inches of skin. And pleasure is naturally supposed to be from the rolling, gliding motion of the skin, not rubbing friction. Sorry for rambling on. I didn't intend to write so much. This is just what I had known, wish I had known from a parent or a health class, but instead I learned from the internet. If you are not confident in your choice to circumcise, then there shouldn't be a problem educating your children about it at the appropriate age. And if they decide at 18, 28, like me, or 40, that they aren't happy with being circumcised, then please be understanding and apologetic. See, very conciliatory, very educated yet conciliatory. Sometimes it's hard for some of us to be this way. So I think it's very important to have both sides. It's very important to be conciliatory as much as possible, but it's also very important at certain times to be forceful and unwavering. So we need both. But you can do both at the same time. Okay, it's not hard to learn that something was done to you without your consent. But if a parent doesn't understand, it can be so much worse. My mom did a good job of understanding and apologetic. I give her credit for that. Mine as well. I'm so lucky. I could not imagine being a mutilated man who finds out about the extent of the damage and researches this and understands it and realizes how this has affected his life. And then to go to your parents and to have them just deny your truth, which is so painfully obvious, to deny what is common sense and to deny what is overt and undeniable. So to have someone deny what is undeniable is very disheartening. And I feel so bad for those men. And I say to you, if I were you, I would disown my parents completely. I would never speak to them again. There would never be an ounce of continuation of relationship without some sort of effort for reconciliation on their part after the fact. I'm so lucky that my mother responded the way she did. She even did a video with me, although I don't know where that video is from, but maybe someday I'll get it online. But anyways, there's a video that I did with my mother. So my mother is amazing, and I'm so lucky for that. For men that don't have that type of support, I support you in whatever way you approach this, whether you just accept that your parents are just mentally disturbed and sociopathic in some sort of form and fashion, or you completely say that I can't accept this and I refuse to associate with you and be have a relationship with you because I refuse to associate with people that do this. Personally, I view this as bad as being a child rapist. Okay, so a child molester or a child rapist, I think this is just as bad as that. I'm not going to associate with somebody that I've known that have harmed children in such a fashion, right? I'm not going to associate with such a person. Would I associate with a person that did this to a child, that circumcised them? and was cool with it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I wouldn't. I've cut those people out of my life. Absolutely. There's nobody in my life that is cool with circumcision that I'm cool with. Okay. So Alyssa says, "Thank you for sharing your story. Married parents do not understand the choice they're making." Not a robot. Great statements there. Just a great overall. I think these are valuable because I want to share these with psychologists and sociologists in the future when this becomes, when this becomes the new trend to write papers about. And believe me, this will eventually become a trend in colleges where kids will write about the psychosis, the weirdness, the societal wide sociopathy that allows a whole entire society to accept what is just a disgusting, horrific sexual assault on a child. Like just those words together in the same sentence just turn my soul and make me disgusted. And then to think that this is like an okay thing, this is an accepted thing and part of our society, and that people actually argue for it in defense of this horrific, disgusting sexual abuse of children is just mind-boggling. But anyways, we're here to counter it, and that's what our voice is doing. And sorry, Olivia Grace Owens, I hope you do grow as a person, and I hope you can recognize the harm you did, and I hope your sons can come to terms with the damage you did to them, and hopefully you can forgive yourself, and they can forgive you for your horrible mistakes. And thank you for Intactivist for educating these people. Remember, jump over here, grab these mimes. There's some very, very powerful mimes here. I've got images. Let me just show you maybe a few of them. Images. There's so many topics here. Okay, intact men tell the truth. Intact, no diseases yet. Intactivism, International Medical Organization, International People, Intersex, Jonathan Conte, Know Better, Do Better, legal law. There's so many different things here you can use. Better as an infant. There's a lot of stuff in here. Let me try to, okay, images. Okay, so this is the one I love to use, images of mutilation without genitals, because of course these are going to social media, right? So without genitals, I'm gonna click this one. And this will pop up just a whole bunch of very disturbing, powerful images that you can utilize in your Intactivism. Okay. Mime library, images of mutilation without genitals. These are just a phenomenal selection of very powerful images. You can see these images. There's just very powerful images. I don't know how people can look at these and not be disgusted and not want to protect children. I just don't know how that happens. So this is what I'm saying. These images are so powerful. The images. Another one is the images of the faces. So images of faces post-torture. This is one of my most powerful ones. All right, here they are. These are all very, very powerful mimes because you can't deny these images. You can't deny the trauma in these children's faces. And you can pop this up, right? Watch this. I'll right-click it, save image as PNG or a copy image, and then you can paste it right into your social media. These are some very, very, again, very powerful images. You can see this child. I mean, look at this child's face. Look at his eyes. He's been through trauma. That's trauma. Look at his eyeball. I mean, you can tell the kid is just wiped. He's been through hell. It's just, a child should not go through this. What? Man, it's just horrible. Look at this child's face. These are very powerful images. Wow, talk about oblivion right here. Smile on the father's face while the child's just going through hell. This one is My Little Champ, a Little Champs thing. Fresh out from having a circumcision, did not cry even once. Look at this child's hands. The look on his face is priceless. The love, the way he's holding his hands. That is, I mean, look at his hands, his white knuckles. That's trauma. This is signs of trauma. Look at hands clenched so hard they're white and purple. Puffy red eyes. Circumcision anguish. Oh, these poor babies. That just blows my mind. But as you can see, utilize the mime library. That's what it's here for. It's here for you guys to make powerful statements on social media. Thank you guys. Peace.
The string of this place to mark the proper location.
Circumcision denies a male's right to genital integrity and to a fully functioning penis.
Near the string of this place to mark the proper location.
Then we clap it.